Sorry, do you watch? No, but performance review process is broken for you guys. We happen to agree. There's a couple things that kind of tie into that, and a lot of research around this issue. First and foremost, there's a recency bias that typically goes into performance reviews. 9 out of 10 executives actually feel that the annual performance review is not providing accurate data because it's only happening once per year. And so because of that, it's causing an ineffective development strategy where annual reviews are inherently designed to react on previous behaviors and not be forward-looking, and also not be thinking about the goals that were set and checking in on those goals along the way. What's more is that employees can have a lot of anxiety going into those reviews, where if they receive a poor review, it can make them feel demotivated. And then in addition, if it's not done in a 360 manner, that review is strictly coming from one other individual, so it can tend to be biased. Ratings demotivate employees. Employees with low ratings on average have an 85% decrease in employee engagement. And then finally, it can be really administratively taxing. Deloitte found that when they were doing the annual review process, it was costing them 2 million hours a year to do the performance management review. So we want to talk about how Reflective is changing a lot of those areas through our review tool and solution.
And so in Reflective, I'll show you kind of 3 main ways you can improve on the traditional process. So I can conduct a review looking at kind of the accomplishments from the year and summarizing kind of what we've talked about in quarterly check-ins that you can also do in Reflective. We can review strengths and opportunities for personal development and then capture critical talent planning information for the company. And so the review I have with Pam is very simple to complete and to capture the what she accomplished in terms of her goals. I can add comments and ratings to go with those as well, as you can see here. And so this allows us to kind of recap on how she did just overall on goal achievement for the year. Second area is that we can actually capture the how Pam accomplished her goals in terms of competencies. And so we can actually indicate her progress here, and in Reflective you can access real-time feedback for this employee from the previous review cycle. So we can see all the ways this employee was congratulated or recognized for teamwork and moving down in terms of problem solving. And so this review ties together goals, competencies, and kind of real-time feedback. The other thing you can see too is feedback from others in the organization. So cutting back on some of that kind of rater bias where you really only kind of hear from your direct manager. Here we can actually see feedback from her 3 direct reports and her 3 peers that she nominated as well. To complete the review, we can do a final overall rating with commentary as well. And it's simple to capture also talent planning information targeted for managers only, including a performance versus potential and risk of leaving and impact of loss. The other quick thing is that, for Pam and I, when delivering this review, we can actually both have access to the simple review summary, highlighting the key items that we talked about, allowing me to focus more time on the performance conversation. So I can view these results as the manager, or I can look at it as Pam. And so I can now see kind of her average score, and I wouldn't see that overall rating since it was targeted to the manager only. So with Reflective, I've got a simple and intuitive way to deliver high quality performance reviews and share developmental kind of conversations and capture critical talent planning conversations, all driven by agile goals and real-time feedback as well.
Finally, we've overhauled the way that this review process is done to eliminate a lot of that taxing process on the administrative standpoint. So right here, we've created what we call Review Builder to make it really easy to launch a review, build it out, target questions towards the right people, and eventually push it out to the right folks involved.
And then just last quick thing, and we could probably do a whole session on just this, but our system is obviously very intuitive to create and design these reviews in one of 3 different ways that you see here, but you can also send kickoff emails from the back end and customize all of those accordingly. And then you can monitor progress over time with our simple dashboards. And so administratively, of course, this will save you a ton of time and hassle.
Great.
Good job.
5 minutes and 1 second.
Perfect.
Wow, yeah.
We didn't even practice. Yes, we did. We fully practiced.
You could just say what you guys think. What'd you like about it?
I liked that it was succinct in terms of going through. I think sometimes we can get really bogged down in asking some questions about the review and spending probably 15, 20 minutes on just the review alone, which maybe if it's their one concern, that's what needs to happen in deep dive. But for just the preliminary overview, I thought it was good to keep it succinct. I liked that last slide of bringing in the admin side of it, because it's usually something people are wondering about, but I think with a whole another like segue of 5 minutes to go into reporting, so I like that. That was very concise at the end.
Cool. Your thoughts?
I liked kind of the conclusion there of here's how easy it is to set this up and you know, some helpful features for you. At the end, I agree. I typically spend an inordinate amount of time like coming up with a segue and like fighting through to get to like metrics and outcomes of the review. I think that's a simple, easy way to do it. Nice work.
Huh. Other thoughts?
I guess one question I may have is this approach is that I noticed there's like a good way of introducing the reviews, and some of it might have been covered during discovery, and then it went into more of just going through more of just the process and not necessarily tying back to that initial value that Emma outlined. So I'm curious, when you think of demo 5 minutes, are you thinking more of get in and kind of walk through? Does it make sense to still tie it back to the values that we've been talking about? Because I know like 5 minutes, you probably get nervous and wanting to hit on everything. So I'm just curious your perspective on that.
So my thoughts, I thought it was very good. I loved that you didn't fill out every form, you know, and I'm thinking as a person who's like probably seen a couple, 3 of these, I'm like, okay, they've got all the basics. I really appreciate it. And I had a lot of questions where I would have stopped you and asked you to dive down, you know, or I'd go back and say, well, you know, that's good. That's good. I like how comfortable you were just saying, no, we're going to show you the tops of the waves here, and then we'll dive down where it's interesting. One thing I think you could take to the next level, I really liked your overview slides, coming back to your question, where you said this is what's broken. I'd love it if you had, like, this is how it's going to be different. Yeah, you know, and really sort of paint the vision of the future, because I couldn't quite tell from the demo how it wasn't going to be the same recency bias, same one time.
So like hinting at what we are about to show, so when they see it, they're like, oh, okay, that's what they just told me.
Not even hinting,
we're going to
saying, we're going to draw you a new picture of the future. With regular feedback, you can have a performance review process that isn't just once or twice a year, that can be, you know, I think we really have to highlight, which is harder, I mean, showing more in that 5 minutes.
So, and we struggled with even just how worried that slide was, because it was like, we took all of that from our studies within Reflective and a lot of the research that we've done, and even then, so we were like, oh, I wish there was like a photo on the side, or like this was even like dialed down a little bit further, and we were like, well, that's marketing the job. Like we can throw this to marketing and say, hey, yeah, it's pretty, totally. So I like the idea of like also tying in, and here's how we solve it. So maybe that's like a second slide. Like here are the pains, here's how we're solved. Let's dive in and show you.
And I think you can spend less time on the pains. You can like sort of probably list keywords in a graphic picture, like the guy on the bicycle.
Yep.
You can do a lot of talking about the guy who fell off the bicycle, right? So we need like a guy on the bicycle slide of what performance reviews look like.
We have a photo that Laurel found.
Cool.
It's just like, yeah.
We have in mind. Yeah. So we could to that, and what we really want, and they know that. So you're only stopping on the why they're broken. Hopefully they agree to go.
Usually all nods on the other end, no matter. No one disagrees.
Yeah, no one sits there. What they don't know is how it could be different.
Yeah.
So I think the next level is to say how it could be different is, you know, in Reflective's world, what our customers do is it's not a once or twice a year process, it's a multiple step process, and the result is employees are engaged employees are more productive. Let me show you what that looks like. And then I think when the demo comes in, you're going to have to sort of show not just, because what you showed was really an annual review process. In a way, right? So I think we can, but I think it's a great start.
Well,
I think it's a hugely great start.
Yeah. So I think we're operating under the assumption that we've already, and this wasn't our area, but like highlighted how, you know, you can talk every day with real-time feedback, you can do one-on-ones, and then you can do quarterly check-ins.
So that's a really good point, what she just said. She operated under the feedback that in this silo of performance reviews, they've already talked about all these other things. And I think, no, the point of this is, if my most important thing is change my annual performance reviews because the process is broken, you've got to draw a complete picture of what the new performance review process can look like. Assume that they haven't done real-time feedback. Where it gets super tricky.
But without goals and real-time feedback, we don't recommend, we don't think annual performance reviews are effective alone. We don't think that.
Right, so the problem that they picked is improve existing performance reviews.
So I think that the other challenge is, like, if you were to show a check-in versus a performance review, because you only have time in 5 minutes to show one or the other. If you show a check-in, a lot of the real-time feedback doesn't necessarily tie into the check-in as neatly in a bow as the 360 with goals tied in review does. Because the real-time feedback, she was able to tie exactly to, oh, look, teamwork is a hashtag on the side, and now we're pulling teamwork into the review itself to, like, highlight, like, the difference in real-time feedback. So I think that's, like, where, like, we were like, well, which review do we show? Because, like, theoretically, like, you should be showing a check-in if you're, like, overhauling their performance review.
That's what I would think. I would think that the first slide, which spent a lot of time, which is a good slide, but it's spent a lot of time on the current state, and you want to illustrate the future state. And the future state is you don't have an annual performance review. You have real-time feedback and check-ins and 360s all in a simple system. And so then you have to kind of figure out, how do I show an annual process that now has 6 different things in it?
When I just said, like, traditional performance reviews are broken, we said ratings demotivate, then we show a performance review with ratings.
Yeah, right.
Like, it doesn't really make,
It didn't
And not only that, a lot of people don't want to get rid of ratings. Like,
Yeah.
But we should say is ratings, what we should say is ratings alone. Ratings by themselves demotivate employees.
So the point I was going to make is, you know, when people say they want to fix the annual review, it's not just like, cool, we want a dashboard to be able to see who's done it, we want to be able to customize our questions, like,
That's not fixing it.
if they want to stay with an annual review and they want to make it better, they have to include real-time feedback.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right. And probably quarterly check-ins.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it really.
So I think the tricky behind of this is these aren't 5 silos. These are 5, this is a Venn diagram, this massive Venn diagram. All these circles overlap, right? Because you also don't want people saying, well, I just want to buy performance reviews. I don't want real-time feedback, da, 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 da. So the vision that we have to draw for them is performance reviews are broken, check. We're not just looking to improve an already broken process. You know, we can replicate your process, that's fine, but that's not what we're here for. What we're here is to show you what does a year look like with our tool. And it looks like real-time feedback where people can do this right in the tool. It looks like regular check-ins. It looks like one-on-ones. It looks like 360s and a performance review if you want them. I would almost, to solve the business problem, even though it's the business problem that's performance reviews. They're not asking for the function of performance reviews. They're asking, help solve my business problem. So I think you can go way broader. What do you guys think?
Sometimes we get on the phone and people are like, no, we want to keep the annual review, just they can't keep doing it in Google Docs. In which case, this is the right road to go down, right?
Right.
Cool.
Well, exactly.
I mean, we could preach best practices all the time, right? And I think there's definitely some value in that. But I also think people are going to be like, you know, we run the risk of them being like, oh, that's
Too much.
I think, too, like, performance reviews are broken is maybe not specific enough because we don't know exactly what's broken.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So it's hard to.
Well, and that was the other
you know.
hard thing, the challenge in creating this slide deck for this specific problem is, like, you have a really high problem, you've got your next 2 questions, but, like, you can continue to pare that down even deeper of, like, what do you feel like at your organization is broken in that review process?
Yeah.
And then hit on that 1 or 2 points as your demo.
Because if the pain is it's not frequent enough, that's a totally different talk track. If it's it's manual on Google Docs, that's totally different talk track.
With one of the pains being recency bias, you know, and but if you don't talk about real-time feedback or ongoing discussions, then we're not
Yeah, to
solving
fix that
We
thing,
just-
right?
We just kind of covered it all. That's what we did.
Yeah, because we were like, where do we go? We're like, we got 5 minutes.
So maybe for real-time feedback, what we need, I mean, for performance reviews, what we need is, the top slide is, okay, how are you trying to improve how do you do it today?
Yeah, like
Because
dial it
it's
in
almost like-
for us.
It's almost you get that same girl on the bike looking off to the side. Yeah, oh, yeah, performance reviews, fix those.
Yeah.
And then you gotta say, okay, well, what is it you wanna fix? Well, we wanna get away from, and then we list a bunch of possibilities. Do you wanna get away from Google Docs? Do you want to move to a a culture of feedback? Like, you can take them down to the next level and you can give them 3 or 4 different things. So that way, if they say, look, we just wanna get off Google Docs, I'm sorry.
Well, and a good way to do that is be like, most people I've talked to are trying to change the performance review in one of 3 ways. You know, 1, they feel like the recency bias is an issue. 2, it's just too much to administer. 3, it's blah, blah, blah. Which one of these do you think resonates best with you? And then that way you know what kind of talk track to go down.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they don't really know how to answer that
And
question.
there might be like 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
For all frame.
exactly.
I definitely think for my sense is for performance reviews, you're either gonna be showing we use paper, Google Docs, and you wanna show, okay, well, let's just start with the beginning. You know, you can get your performance reviews online.
Yeah.
Isn't that the Chris Bell technique? Were you the one that told me that, or was that Brett? Who just said, they just wanna get their performance reviews online. Yeah.
Easy to solve for.
You get them online.
I think we might be able to help there.
And in that case, if that's what they say, that's exactly the demo I would show.
Yeah.
We just want to get them online. Okay, great, let's show this, but you know what? There's more. So let me just expose you to this. Now you're doing a little vision generation. And you might do your 5-minute demo, but you're actually going into the next piece now, which is, oh wait, there's more. So if they said, we just want to go online or get off Google Docs, that's the perfect demo, what you just did.
Yeah.
I would change your upfront slide a little bit because you didn't solve some of those problems. You didn't solve recency, you didn't solve But if they said, oh man, the annual performance review that we do now, it's just not engaging our employees, they're, some of the other problems on your slide, then you probably have to start with, well, think about a yearly process that looks like this. What if you could combine real-time feedback and 360s and check-ins and one-on-ones to have, an employee-driven constant feedback. I mean, you're going to sort of get from performance, you're basically moving them from performance reviews. They think they want performance reviews, but what you're going to sell them is regular feedback, real-time feedback.
And you know,
And we just-
progressive companies are thinking about it in a different way. And they're looking at it the whole year and then going to what you just said. And that way they're like, they don't think you're telling them what to do, but they're like, you're saying like, oh, this is what.
Yeah.
Well, you can make the year end easier and less painful. They've already done, and that's why I try to allude to that, but like they've already done quarterly check-ins. They've already done that. So all the work is done at the end of the year. It's more of a summary of what we learned.
Yeah.
Like that's my talk track. If someone's like, I'm doing an annual performance review, I'm like, great, okay. We're doing an annual performance review, that's fine, but we've done some touch points throughout the year.
And that's where you highlighted it with the real-time feedback. You were like, we can draw upon our past reviews as well as the real-time feedback here.
Is there a way to have a slide, just trying to visualize it, of like one side is saying performance reviews, and this is usually what an organization has, and maybe they have that, and the other side is like performance reviews, like goals and feedback and everything pointing at it, as well as things that go into that. And
so that would be a great slide to follow our text slide.
Because it would be like, here are the traditional problems that we see. Like for you, where do you see yourself? Like what kind of challenges are you guys having with it? And then you can say that next slide of like, this is how it all ties it together, which would be cool.
I'm thinking one visual, so then you can speak to that of, okay, well, we go with performance reviews first, but what other data points throughout the year do we want as part of this conversation? And you can allude to like, here's where the feedback that we'll go over in a minute lives, as you can see it, like, will come up X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, that'd be a good interlude slide,
cool.
better than just the like kind of product suite. I think it'd be like a better talking point than like, here's the product suite.
No, I agree.
I like that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Okay, super cool conversation. This is like, I got a million ideas.
Sorry.
Great start.
We need to be better at this though, like just selling performance reviews. Like sometimes we, like, oh, you want to change your performance reviews? Cool, real-time feedback, and they're like, hold on.
Real-time feedback, check-ins, goals, and then lastly, there's a review, and by then their head is spinning, and they're like, what? I asked you for reviews.
Yeah. So we need kind of a fork, we need a pivot point. Like, how do you call it?
If
I'm
have
interested in
own deck and like choose your own adventure within reviews.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that's a bunch of stuff that we can work with and take that to the next level. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have like a half an hour left. I want to make sure everybody else gets there. No. You're first. The first one is just like QBRs, right? The first one is 50 minutes, and everybody else is like 15 because all the questions come out in the beginning. All right, who's got goals? Who's driving? Rocky, is that you?
Yeah.
Good luck, Rocky.
Don't be too nervous.
You got all the stuff we worked on. Yeah. You really did a great job. I got it.
I was taking some notes. Check your clock.
They asked me
And Rocky, who is your partner? So everything that we don't like is Ben, right?
What's that?
Everything that we don't like about this is
Yeah,
Ben
this
put
whole
in.
thing is his.
Wait till we see how we like it first.
If you like it,
Credit.
it's fine.
All right, here we go, goals. My problem is goals. I need to align my people with my goals.
Yeah, well, thanks for talking with us in my BDR Brett last week to outline some of the challenges and problems that you're trying to solve for. Primarily ensuring that employees are working on the right things, especially when change. So a lot of common challenges that I hear from my customers around this topic are making sure that employees and managers are aligned on key priorities. Also that employees work hard, but not necessarily on the right things. New information becomes available from a top-level goal, and it's changed, but it's not percolated through the rest of the organization. So I'm going to walk through some of these challenges and how Reflective will solve those, and feel free to stop me and interrupt me along the way if you have questions. So first, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
So one of the primary things that I recommend to my clients is to enter in some key company strategic objectives for the quarter. What I recommend is having either your CEO or your HR administrator do this, and you can put in some company objectives that everybody can search through within our public search bar up top. So you'll notice that we have one large objective, and that's to increase year-over-year profit by 20%. And the great thing about having company objectives here is that you can cascade these goals down to your department heads. In this case, I'll cascade it to Michael Scott. And yeah, that's about it. I don't know.
Hit the back.
No, click.
Hit delete.
Great. Well, now it's cascaded. So now Michael Scott has this goal cascaded in his inbox as well, and people can align this, as you'll notice, by clicking this button over here. So we can go down the goal tree and so on and so forth until we hit my team, Jim Halpert. So the great thing about cascading goals is that everybody is aligned on the same objectives. There's also a couple other items that we can use to make sure that everybody is working on the same items. In this case, I'm going to use our category field to tag these goals as financial objectives. Great. So I am a sales manager in here, and I'd like to make sure that my employee Pam is also working on the things that she should be working on. So I'll search for Pam, and I'll notice that she has the same goal. And at any time, I can come in and comment on the progress against this goal. And Pam can comment right back. Now, in addition to seeing goals in the Reflective platform, goals are also resurfaced in our email plugin, which you should all be familiar with. Since I deal with existing clients, and this is installed in all of your employees' computers. So in this case, I have an email from my manager, Ben, giving me some homework today to just check in on the progress against the goals of my direct reports. So right in my workflow, I'm going to search for Pam, my direct report, and just take a look at Pam's goals and make sure that they're still aligned with my goals and therefore the company objectives. Now, in addition to seeing goals from an individual level, we also have a goals dashboard which will provide you or other department leaders a quick snapshot of the goals and their progress in your organization. So in this case, I'm going to search for financial goals because that's the objective we're working on. And I can see that goals have been updated quite recently, 14 hours ago. So the data that I'm seeing is very up to date. Finally, at the end of the quarter, as we're making sure that folks are either on track, behind, or completing their goals, we can start a goal check-in. And we do this on a quarterly basis. And this allows us to reflect on the progress that we've made against these goals over the past quarter. So in this case, there's an exact copy of the goals that are in the system for Pam onto this goal check-in, and we can select how she's doing. I can also see Pam's comments, and then I can type in my own over here. And once we've completed this exercise, we'll submit this so that this is memorialized and we can revisit it in our one-on-one meetings next week. What questions do you have?
5 minutes and 7 seconds.
Oh, you're good.
I completely wing that, by the way, so I hope that it was terrible.
That's good. What do you guys think?
I'm not voting you off. I like Brandon's email to you.
I know, I was reading it, I was like, wait a minute.
I noticed that like you use, and I do this too, but I noticed you interchange the terms goals and objectives often. Is that the same thing? Are you considering a goal and an objective something different?
I'm not.
Okay.
Personally.
Okay.
I use them interchangeably.
Okay.
Typically, I'll mirror what the customers talk about it because an organization, like some don't care and then some are like, we don't like.
We don't call them that. Yeah.
I like how you started with and this will probably be dependent on the company, but you start with the company objectives, which I haven't seen before. So starting from kind of the high level, the goals to align. Okay, well, let's set goals that we're aligning to, as opposed to, I think, what we were doing before is the employee experience. These are my goals and going back up, but I like starting from the top and bringing it down.
I like that too. I just worry that people will ask. Hi. Terrence?
Terrence,
Sorry, go ahead.
I'll clean up the demo account. I'm sorry.
He's already done it, probably.
No, that's well, Laura, why don't you finish your comment there?
Oh, I was just going to say, because company goals don't technically like tie to personal goals yet. I always fear going down the company goals talk track because I feel like it is basically just a sticky note.
It is.
Well, they could be team goal, where you look at the tag and then you can just see the progress.
Yeah, if you go to the tags, it's high.
You can still use the tag, yeah.
And the goal tree that's coming out like this month will alter that.
Okay.
I think it's a talk track we should start.
Okay.
Yeah, and creating a user called like company objectives is what the CS team has been instructing our.
That's what you did.
You charge them for that user?
No. Probably not. You just put like this one keyword in the email address that you use to create that person.
Oh.
It doesn't count on Billing's database. But anyways, that's kind of like.
So they have been using that for like goal alignment?
Yeah, for clients who have.
I was wondering how you got to that.
Yeah.
asking about that.
Terrence, why didn't you tell me that yesterday?
Because that's not
But
something
That's
that
good to know.
From my understanding, once the goal alignment comes out, the legit goal alignment, not the goal tree, but the one that's coming out in like end of Q2, this is essentially how it's going to be. There's going to be like.
I have a bunch of use cases for that, and I've just been.
Okay, wait,
Legit goal alignment.
let's pause. Let's let Terrence graciously give the floor back to Laurel. So let's give it back to
Oh,
Terrence.
sorry.
No, it's fine. You guys, Terrence, you're on. Speak wisdom.
Yeah, I was just confused when I saw that company objective employee, because and now that you mentioned that it's a actual CS workaround, that's I guess I need to huddle up with my team on that, because I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Sandy, do
Yeah,
you have
because
any
we've been having a
comments
lot
on
of
that?
conversations all around that.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask about that too. Like, why is there a fake employee profile called company objectives? But also in the talk track, because I see company goals on the right, that's what I'm seeing, like as the end user. So just taking my reflective hat off, like I'm seeing that on the right, but then I'm seeing company objectives being created over here, and I'm not understanding what that company goals then is for on the right. So that's one. And then, but yeah, we'll go back and I think we'll huddle then with CS? Because I'm also curious, are we charging a license for this workaround to our customers?
No, we should not be charging for this. This is a flaw of our system.
Sorry if I'm going.
We shouldn't be, but we're just counting. We're just counting it as a person, right? So we may not know. But that.
We'll never know.
It probably said finances.
Customer success has some, I can't remember what the keyword is, but if there's some word in the email domain for any user in a production environment, then it's not counted on the Roku data clip that billing uses to invoice our clients. So I know that they use that for like testing purposes for lots of different reasons, and I think this is also something that fits in that description. Frankly, if people do this, you hide the company goals and the group goals things on the right-hand side. I just didn't want to do that in everybody's
I don't see what's wrong with just the old way of just having the company and goals there and using the tags. Like, I've never had anybody fumble with that.
I find the tags are so hard to explain.
Well, I feel like, oh, really?
Like, I don't know, it's more like, okay, well, now let's report against them, and now let's run data, and now let's see, like, if I put these couple things together and just comes down that.
The only beef I ever get about it is what if they type in the tag wrong? And if we had like a set drop down, but I never have any issues with people understanding like, hey, when you add this goal, you add the tag, that's how you align it to the company goal. And when you hit the dashboard, the company goals are still on the right-hand side, so you can still hit you can still type in the tag and have full visual of what that tag is.
Yeah, you can see it, but it's not gonna show up in the dashboard.
Can we leave this in this demo environment?
No.
You know what? I would, and sorry, this is Sandy again. I think, I actually do think all of this is going to be resolved. I know one of the roadmap items was actually finally attaching company and group goals to individual goals, right? So there was 2 prongs. There was doing that. Then there was also, you know, being able to filter out categories, right? That's also been just kind of a peeve of bringing all goals into a check-in as opposed to the clear delineation of business versus developmental. So I know that those 2 are on the roadmap. I think it's for Q2. So that's going to take care of this, right? So we don't have to have this company objective fake profile, right? Now we'll be able to actually attach it and report on it and cascade it as it should be. So I think that will take care of itself in the product. So we may not have to use this if that's what CS is using for now.
Okay, let's pause for a second. I want to be able to get at least one more in today. Is anybody able to stay like 15 minutes past the top of the hour? You have a call, but all right, so let's make sure you guys do that. What just occurred to me as you were showing goals, and I went back to what Emma said the other day about, I want like a slide that says, we do this in 6 different ways. And that's kind of what I wanted to see on goals too. And I think maybe that's something we could develop. Like, we attack the goal problem at the company level, the group level, the individual level, and then at the daily, you know, with daily and quarterly check. I mean, I think we need like one sort of process visual that says, this is how we do goals. And then so when you start clicking through things, you know where you are. Because it happens to me, and I am definitely a big picture person who has to have the big picture in place before we get the details. There are people that are wired just the other way, that they show it linearly. With a 5-minute demo, you sort of have to show the big picture first, I think. So what I'd like to do is work with you guys on what is that big picture of goals. What is now we have company, we have departmental, we have individual, you can align, you can tag, and you can update on a regular basis. I mean, that's what they need, like, what can you do? And let's make sure we're promoting what we can do that BetterWorks can't, or that Lattice can't, or that Glint can't. So super great job. And I think this is just kind of giving us we did the brainstorm, and now we're kind of doing, okay, here's our best recommendation, let's take this to the next level.
Well, I think like one of the differentiators in terms of like our goals is that they're so closely married to everything else in the tool. Like Glint, BetterWorks, like all those guys suck at real-time feedback. And we don't. And so like marrying it in the check-in with like, here are your objectives in the context of all the other feedback you can get is what differentiates us.
So almost it's like, I'm trying to put, like, with what's the format of this demo?
Yeah.
Each demo of the 5, and if you're assuming that you're only they only ask one problem. So, like, how do you say, okay, you want performance reviews, you want goals, here's how we do goals, and here's all the teasers into why real-time feedback's important, and so we kind of have to put that in the demo. And I'd rather the demo, like on goals,
Have some hooks.
To other things. If we're going to show something, let's show that. Let's not show, oh, we can tag, we can cascade, we can align.
Right.
You know, if they're deep down into it, they're going to say, well, how do you do that? But if you're just doing remember, this is the first demo. Maybe they don't need to see all that. But they can see the differentiated part. So I think that's a good point. Let's look at who would be next here. Recognition. I think that's the Drew and Mark show. All right, 101. So that.
It's us.
And who has to leave at the top of the hour? You do. What are you? Oh, the one that's not even on the list.
Or
can we do results? Do you mind if we do that one next time?
Oh, no.
And do you mind if we do? And who has feedback? That's you guys. So we'll start that at the top of the hour. Is that okay? We'll do this one, and then we'll start at the top of the hour, and then on Tuesday we'll do professional development and the Drew Mark show. So who's driving it over there?
You, maybe.
Yep. Only if I put my glasses on.
Oh, ew. Yeah.
Oh, shucks.
You can stay longer. I'd rather you go today.
Yeah.
It's just a question of how long do you want to stay. It's a 3-day weekend. I don't want you guys to hate me forever. Keep until 6 o'clock on a Friday night.
So the slide we have isn't, it's not customer facing, but at the top we have the problem we're addressing in terms of one-on-ones. And then the bullet points we have here, the 2 main ones are different entry points in the product. So depending on the discovery questions in the beginning of the conversation, we can either choose to start at the My Team page and work ourselves backwards to the plugin, or we could start from the plugin and eventually work to the team page. And then,
So start with the My Team page. So this is one of Reflective's most powerful solutions because it helps managers stay organized and keep all their employee notes in one place to ensure that they have efficient, high-quality conversations. So in this example, my name is Jim Halpert. I'm a manager, and Pam Beasley is my direct report, so I can pull up her page. So here on my team page, I can do a few different things. One, it allows managers to pull up all the feedback and recognition for each of their reports so they can bring it up during a one-on-one conversation. I can also filter that feedback by positive recognition or coaching notes. Additionally, I have the option to crowdsource feedback from Pam's peers to uncover additional coaching opportunities. I can do that right here. Lastly, I have a one-on-one agenda builder, which acts as a shared document between the manager and employee, similar to a Google Doc, which helps keep the conversations on task instead of digressing into irrelevant topics. That can be viewed right here. So you're probably asking, well, where does all this feedback come from? It can come from a few different places, but one access point is our email plugin. So right here, I received an email from Pam, and I'm able to do a couple different things. First, the plugin really allows managers and employees to give and receive feedback and constructive feedback in the moment. All that information entered here is flowed into the Reflective platform, just like you saw on the My Team page. So one, I can give Pam recognition for a job well done. I can also save a coaching note for Pam here. I also have that one-on-one agenda builder, which I showed you on the My Team page. And you also have access into Pam's goals, which brings greater transparency and visibility into what they might be working on for the quarter or the year. So from the plugin that lives in your daily workflow to the My Team page, which we showed, Reflective provides easy to use tools so managers and employees are continually aligned and able to coach more frequently.
Very cool. Oh, I didn't even time it. That was like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
That was really good, time-wise. Really good. I love that you had 2 entry points. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I like that you guys have 2 entry points. I think that's really great because I do think a lot of these instances there should be multiple entry points. The only thing that I would add to your quick demo is you do your value statement at the very end, but not throughout on each point. I would maybe pause and add like a value statement of like how that aligns back to the pain that you mentioned in the beginning slide.
Sure.
Yeah, and I would just add, I like that most times when you bring up one-on-ones, there's nothing in place, like managers aren't using anything, so just really reiterate that as you go and just about like what are they doing today, just jotting down notes and really comparing like this is something that's in your, the communication workflow. They're coming back from a meeting, quickly notice something, they can jot it down and then they're on to their next task. They have these to reference and drawing that image is pretty powerful as a manager story because everyone either had a manager or been a manager and they can quickly relate to that. So I just drive that home a little bit more.
Okay.
You had a couple good sentences that made me think of just as a general practice, throwing in statements like, imagine if, when you went to, yeah, just really imagine if, or wouldn't it be great if, or, get this value into their daily life. And I didn't write down exactly what you said, but it made me think, wouldn't it be great if you could just go in when you're preparing a one-on-one and all this is right in front of you? How did it get there? I mean, so we really want to keep pushing it back onto their side. Any other comments about this one? You guys are going fast. We'll fit them all in. Don't get too comfortable over there, Nicole. All right. Emma and Kim. Who's driving?
Kim is.
Are you leaving?
No, it's fine. My wallet's still on. Get rid of it. Yeah.
We made it all.
We found Albert.
Yeah.
She's like freaking out. She's like, that's yelling at me for doing something. Okay, guys.
Okay.
Action.
So you said that you've been hearing from your employees in your engagement surveys that they've been asking for more feedback, and that's something that we're hearing from almost every customer that we're talking to, every client that we're talking to. And we're learning that in today's day and age, it's not just about feedback from a manager, but it's feedback from the whole organization. And typically, companies that have tried to solve for this are sending people into another platform to log into. It's cumbersome, people just don't use it. It's really about just that manager to employee feedback. What Reflective does is look at all types of feedback. We know that your employee is not just interacting with managers, but they're interacting with clients, they're interacting with each other, they're experiencing things throughout the year that they want to take notes on. So in Reflective, we have 6 types of feedback. Positive feedback that peers can provide to each other, can go up and down any direction within the organization. This can lead more into recognition that can be amplified throughout. Managers can leave coaching notes. So notes themselves, so they have better one-on-ones and more effective one-on-ones to provide that individual feedback. And then individuals can request feedback. So if people work hard on a project, they can ask others that were part of that project, how did I do? How could I have done better? So they can really search for that feedback and aren't relying on their manager to just provide it to them. Managers can also request feedback throughout the year. So as a manager, maybe I don't sit next to my people on my team, my direct reports every day, but this allows me the capability to ask those that do interact with that person regularly, how are they doing? How can I keep, coaching on certain skills? And then finally, individuals can save notes to track accomplishments. How am I doing? How can I keep doing better? These are things that we ask ourselves. So if I hear a great story from a client, I can save that to myself so I can be my best advocate when it's time for a one-on-one or a review down the road. And then lastly, external feedback. We know that's really important for some organizations that have a lot of outside vendors or clients. So having that capability to ask those clients, how am I doing and how could I be doing better? Which one of these resonates the most with your organization, or when you think of employees wanting feedback, which one of them kind of is top of mind out of that list?
Individuals request feedback.
Sure.
Yeah, so just to show you how Reflective would enable that, I think it's pretty important when you think about feedback tools. to allow your employees to have a tool that is integrated into their communication. And it makes sense, right? Your employees are all on email. It's the #1 application they use every single day. So when you think, when would I want to send out a request? Maybe it's because I just received an email from a direct report or from a manager, and I actually want to go request feedback. You're seeing on my screen here that I pulled up my inbox. So Reflective actually integrates with your employee's email. Also, we have a mobile app. We integrate into Slack just to provide that entry point and make it relevant and timely. In terms of requesting feedback, all your employee would have to do, let's just say, we received an email that prompts us to think, I actually want to request feedback from someone. You can see the sidebar here is actually a Reflective email plugin. When you go and you actually type your own name, and in this case, I'm actually Jim Halpert, you can see that a request feedback button pops up on your side profile here in the email plugin. When you click that button, you can go in and request feedback from anyone within the organization. So let's just say you actually want to request feedback from Kelly on your team. Aside from putting Kelly's name in, you would then prompt her as to what you want feedback on. Maybe, you're seeing in this email, it's regarding a project that you guys just worked on together, and so you're thinking, Kelly, you provide feedback on X, Y, and Z, and then when you send a request, Kelly can receive the request, and she could respond, which then saves the data within the Reflective platform, filtered by feedback received, and that allows you to access that.
Cool. You have 2 minutes left.
We would continue, but I feel like you chose one thing, and it's usually not what I hear from customers.
What would you have? What do you think you would have heard from a customer? Go back to your PowerPoint.
Yeah, so it's more so.
Well, I think in that case, even if a customer chose that direction, we can always say that's one type. Have your employees often asking for recognition, or kind of outside of this, what other aspects of feedback have they been asking for? So you can just broaden it up, even if they just, because they'll probably just choose one, but you can kind of segue into another one to choose.
Great.
Or show it in the platform too, of how we can keep it throughout the year to reference either one.
Yeah. Cool. What do you guys think?
I like it. I like the choose your own adventure. I think that's like what every talk track should have. Like, I think that's like where we were struggling with performance reviews. So like, I like that you guys did that up front, and then it makes it really concise. Yeah, maybe the talk track is just like, are there 2 or 3 of these that like stick out?
Yeah, I love the list of all, because in my demos, I'm like showing 6 different ways to give feedback. I'm like, and then you can do this, and then you can do this, and then you can do this. Because there's a lot of ways you can do feedback now.
Yeah.
So this is a nice way to just show everything.
Yeah.
Categorizes it.
And I
Yeah.
feel like because mostly this would be demoing the plugin, it steers away from showing everything and anything within the plugin, like, oh, no, by the way, there's the agenda, oh, there are the goals.
Don't forget those, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can also ask them to rate them. So if you said, are there 2 or 3 that stick out, when you rate them, why are those? Like, what specifically?
Yeah, I definitely ask more questions on it. The last 3 you can't actually show in the plugin yet, which is too bad, and hopefully these are coming soon, but I figure hopefully people will choose the first 3 to begin.
Yeah.
Again, show.
I think the other thing I would add. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go.
Sorry, this is Sandy. One thing I was thinking, I do like that you have the intro for types of feedback, but I'm thinking of this like this is reflective terms, and it's kind of the way that we built our product or product name. So to simplify it, or if you had that, you're trying to ask the audience members for feedback to lead them down a path, I would almost simplify this a little bit more. Maybe instead of those functions, I would say, what do you struggle with? Is it helping managers coach individuals? Is it helping people work on personal development? Or is it creating a culture of feedback across the company? What do you think is most important to you? And then you would know the features maybe to go to from maybe those 3 categories, as opposed to lining out all of the features and then, trying to get them to see more. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it makes perfect sense of thinking, oh yeah, these are all the ways that we do it within the platform, but that's a really good point, Sandy. Yeah.
What I was going to say is I want to know why. Why would you give positive feedback, or why would you give manager coaching notes? And that's, she jumped right to the why.
Yeah.
Are you looking for better manager coaching extensive. This is what's so hugely valuable to me about this exercise is like we get the first iteration out, get lots of cross feedback on it, and I think we all have good ideas about how we would improve.
Mm-hmm.
I think the overall trend I'm seeing is like, it's making us think more big picture, like how do we take a step back and organize our thoughts and ideas with like, overall this is what we want to convey, let's go into detail as needed. So like all of us have these slides that summarize things, and we're thinking about even like within the summary slide, like how do we make it even easier and take out the points and then, yeah, so it's like simplifying so that our demo is better.
And they're getting more and more customer centric. They're moving from let's show the features in our product to let's solve the customer's business problem. I mean, that's what I heard in every single one of these. Like, what are you trying to do? And here's how we can help you do that. So I think we have another round to go through. So, but we don't have, is that everybody? Do we go through?
Sean? I mean, right here.
So we did one-on-ones, we have recognition and,
Coaching.
no, it's just
One-on-one?
personal development or whatever developments. We'll do those. I think what we'll do is we'll do on our next session, which I think is Tuesday, we'll do those two, and then we'll make the rest of the sessions a working session about what would you do to what you presented today to take it to the next level.
Yeah, and then maybe at the end we can send you our slides and like we can make them look pretty and use them.
Yeah.
Okay, because I think the content is good, but like ours are not.
No. I think we need one more rev. Like you guys needed a couple entry points, and I think you saw things in different people's demos. We thought, oh, I should do that in ours. So yeah, I think we'll just do one more rev. So Tuesday we'll have a working session, and Friday we'll do our next rev, and then that's knock out the slides. Okay.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you guys. Have a great long weekend.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah. I gotta go call Tom's prospect, and he sent me her LinkedIn profile. I like know her.
I know her name.
Oh, yeah.